Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I am your host for today, Elise, and we have a special workout regimen planned for you, and you do not want to miss it. It will be a great way to kickstart your morning and look forward to a mindful day today. Before we dive in, I just want to remind everyone that AARP is here to empower you to live your best life as you age. We're a proud nonpartisan 501c organization with over 420,000 members right here in Alabama. Our mission is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. And if you would like to learn more about AARP, please visit www.aarp.org. At AARP Alabama, we're passionate about helping you stay active and engaged right from the comfort of your home. That's what mindful movement is about. So before you begin any exercise, make sure you uh, verify with your doctor that the workout regimen is exactly for you. Now, let's get to the good stuff. I'm so excited to welcome our fabulous fitness instructor, Miss Becca Impello. Hi, Becca. How you doing today?
Good morning, Elise. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing very, very well. I'm so happy and so excited. I swear, since using your workouts, it's been helpful so much at home. I feel very relaxed. My muscles feel more relaxed. And I'm hoping the viewers, of course, taking the time to do the workout completely as instructed, and they get to go back and look at some of your previous sessions to use as well to keep them engaged and flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we welcome everyone to, find those previous sessions on YouTube or on our Facebook page, and you can do a workout anytime you feel like you're ready to do some movement.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want for quick verification. Will we be on the chair and the floor today, or will we be standing up?
Well, what I thought we'd do today is we're in the midst of a heat wave. If you're here with
Yes.
us live, you're feeling it, right? It's going to be, dangerously hot in some places. So, what I thought we might do today, typically we stay upright in the chair. It just makes it a little more accessible. But I did want us to work on the floor today or down horizontal, because that's a great way to move without elevating your body temperature quite as much versus when we're standing and moving around. So, we'll start in the chair, and then I'm going to move to the floor. But I just want to remind our listeners that it doesn't have to be the floor. If it's difficult for you to get up and down from the ground, you can go to any horizontal surface that's easy for you to get to, like your bed or a couch or something like that. And that can serve as the way that you get to a horizontal position to do some of our movements today. And if that's not an option for you either, or it's just not something you want to do, I'll be giving some tips for ways that you can still do some similar movements, but from a seated position as well.
Great. And I'm so glad you even thought, about that, especially with this heat. Everyone is getting heat waves from all across the country. So I'm going to let you get us started for today, and then let's take it from here, Becca.
Okay, well, like I said, we're going to start in the chair, and then I am going to come down to a lying down position. I've got a blanket here that I can use as a little pillow, so you could have something that you might put underneath your head. And as I said, if getting up and down from the floor is not so great for you, then maybe you go and lie down on the bed, or lie down on the couch, and do the best you can. I'm all about us, adapting and finding variations that work for your own individual needs and your own situation and setup. Okay. But like I said, staying kind of low to the ground or staying a little more horizontal is going to tend to keep us from heating up quite as much. And that's something we really got to watch out for during these heat waves that we're having. We're going to take good care of ourselves. And we're going to start with a breath exercise. We actually did it last time, I believe, that's intended to help us sort of temporarily cool down a little bit. It's a cooling breath practice, right? And it uses the surface of the tongue and the inside of the mouth to kind of cool off the breath as it enters the body. Okay. Kind of like a swamp cooler would do, where you blow that air across, something moist or cold, and that generates a little coolness in the area around. So let's give that a try. It involves breathing in through the mouth and then breathing out through the nose, right? And we're just going to do it for 5 breaths. So we're not going to continue that breath pattern, but we're just going to do it for this cooling effect. And if you can curl your tongue, that's a genetic thing. You either can or you can't, all right? But if you can curl your tongue into a little tube, you're going to use that shape of your tongue to do the breathing in across the tongue. If you can't curl your tongue, no worries. Leave the tongue relaxed, and you're just going to make a tube or a circle with your lips as another sort of place to sort of slowly pull the air in across your tongue. All right, so let's give it a try. I think it's a fun breath as well as having a little bit of a cooling effect. Just see what you notice in terms of how it makes you feel, especially right here in the chest as that air gets right into the first part of your body. If you've pulled it across the tongue like that, it'll generally feel a little cooler there. All right, so let's give it a try 5 times with this cooling breath. Drawing that slowly in, holding a second, and then exhale through the nose. Try to take the inhale slowly through the tongue. Two more times. One more. And just pause. See if you notice any sensation, like I mentioned right here in the upper chest, the breastbone. I feel a little coolness, right? A little sensation right there from breathing in a few times with that air coming across the tongue, cools it off. Now, I just want to say that's not a technique that you want to use if you're really suffering from heat exhaustion or you think you might be. You want to take other measures. That cooling breath is not an emergency technique. It's just something kind of fun to use when you are feeling a little overheated. All right, we're going to sit in the chair for just a few more moments and do a little warming up. So let's roll the shoulders. And I hesitate to use that phrase warming up because we don't need to warm up anymore, do we? We're just going to get our body moving. We're going to try to bring our awareness into our body and get the joints and the muscles moving. So let's roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Might take a deep breath with that if you want. See what you notice in your body. Being mindful means observing, intentionally noticing, right? We try to withhold judgment, right? So don't try to find critiques about how your body is doing or feeling. Just see what you can notice. All right, shoulders back and down, and let's give the head a turn side to side. All right, next time that chin is over towards your shoulder, stay there and draw the chin down and across to the other shoulder and then come back across the chest again. Just go a few times back and forth. All right, and then bring it back to center. Lift the head up. Let's do a little nodding. Let the head tip back gently, and then bring the chin back to your chest, back and forth. All movements are up to you as far as how big you make them, any changes that you might need to make with them. All right, now let's take a little movement of the arms. So bring the hands to the chest and then pull back, squeeze those shoulder blades, lift the chest and the rib cage forward, and then push it out and round your back any amount. You can drop your chin towards your chest and then pull and reach or press. Nice breath in again. Good, 3 more of these. Last one. All right, and then let those arms drop down. All right, so I'm going to move down to lying down. Now remember, if that's not something that works for you or you don't want to do today, stay in the chair and listen and, kind of see what you can do on your own that's similar to the movements that we're making on the floor. Now, you, of course, can use your chair to help you get down if that's something that you need. So take your time, find your way to lying down if you're choosing that. Remember, you can have a little blanket underneath your head if you wanted. All right. And let's just start with the hands here. Just pick up the hands in the air and circle the wrists around. So again, this is obviously an easy one to do seated. You can do circles for your wrists there. Circle around the other way. And then let's do some arm raises. So arms up towards the head. Nice breath in, arms back down to your side. So again, this one is pretty simple to do in the chair. You're gonna reach the arms up towards the ceiling and then back down to your sides. All right, now when the arms come down next, bring the right knee towards you and just see if you can grab that right knee. You can do this in the chair, right? You can scoop under the right thigh or grab the front of the right knee and pull that up as high as you're able to pull it. You can take a break at any time. That's always true, no matter what position you're in. All right, let's put that leg down and stretch the arms overhead again or up towards the ceiling. And then pull the other leg up towards your chest. All right, let's do that again. Reach overhead with the arms, stretch the fingers, and then hug that right knee towards you. And then again, one more time, stretch the arms overhead and bring the left knee towards you. All right, now both feet on the floor, arms down at your sides or maybe spread out to the sides. And we're going to do a knee rocking. So from lying down, that looks just like you letting your knees and your hips and your low back rock. If you're seated, you're going to want to do this moving the upper body. You're going to just gently turn your head, chest, and rib cage gently side to side. All right, so that's the way you might get a twist from a seated position. All right, taking just a few more moments with this one, giving that spine a little gentle rotation. All right, bring the knees back to center or bring the head and chest back to center if you're in the chair. And then let's take that right leg now and stretch it out long. So if you're on the floor, you're just reaching that leg long, or if you're lying on your bed, wherever you're horizontal, you're just reaching that leg out long. If you're seated in the chair, stretch that leg out in front of you with the heel on the ground. And let's point and flex that foot at the end of that leg, right? So give it a little back and forth pumping. All right. And then let's bring that knee back in towards the chest. But this time, let's all hold behind the thigh or behind the knee. Now, if you're seated, it might be best just to keep this thigh on the chair to do the kicking or the straightening of the knee. Here, lying down, you're going to hold it. All right, so we're going to kick that leg towards a straight knee. It may or may not get all the way straight. Let's go in and out of that. Kick, reach out through the heel or reach up for the heel to the ceiling. And see what you notice about maybe the back of the leg might feel a little stretch or a little tightness. All right, and then let's release. Drop that all the way down to the floor, just back to your resting position. Pause and just notice the sensation in that leg that you were just working with. Notice how it feels different than the other side. All right, now the left leg, we're going to stretch it out long on the floor or out in front of you in the chair. And then pump that ankle. Flex and point that foot back and forth. All right. And then let's bring that leg in, or if you're seated in the chair, just bring it back to starting position. Lying down here, you're going to hold behind the thigh, and we're kicking up and down. Or if you're seated in the chair, you're doing that, knee straighten and bend motion from a seated position. Good. All right, and then back to that start position. Let's return to a little bit of that rocking, knees rocking side to side. If you're seated, again, you might take it as a twist from the upper body, or if there's another movement that you think you'd like to make from a seated position, you can do so from there. All right, so we've loosened up pretty well, the hips, the legs, and the low back. All right, so now we're going to do some strengthening work. We're going to do bridge pose. So if you're lying down, that's going to look like, feet on the floor with the knees bent, maybe feet a little bit wider than the hips or about the width of the hips, you can choose. And then we'll be lifting the hips up off the ground. It's a great idea to make sure your head is relatively flat. You could have a thin pillow or a thin folded blanket under your head, but it shouldn't be too bulky, all right? So if you've got something kind of big, you might move it. Now, if you're seated in the chair, the best substitute or best option for what we're doing here would be sit to stand, right? To push through the feet and stand up and then sit down. And that's going to work the same muscles that we're working here with bridge. All right, so let's give it a try. Push through the feet. Lift the hips up off the ground as high as you're comfortable with. Feel like there's a good squeeze there. And then lower back down. And then if you're seated, maybe you're standing all the way up, sitting down with nice, good control. All right, let's do a few more of these. Up and down with the hips, or up and down with your body into standing if you're on the chair. Got about 3 more. Here we go, 3. Remember, you can do fewer reps if you want. 2. Last one. Pause. Again, just see if you can notice where in your body you had to do some work, where the effort was for you. All right, now for this next one, to stretch the back a bit more after that bridging, I'm going to have you bring both knees towards you. Now, you can hold behind the thigh or the front of the knee. If you're seated, the best way to get a stretch that's similar to this is going to be to take your feet wide and then fold down with your body over your legs, like you're trying to let your hands drop to the floor, although they could stay on your knees or they could slide down your shins to your ankles. All right, you could go in and out of either position. So here on the floor, I'm going to just do some gentle pulling my knees in and then just letting them push away a bit, back and forth. If you're seated, you could be folding forward and then coming slowly back up to a seat. All right, 1 or 2 more. And then maybe let's stay in the stretch, right? So stay wherever you feel comfortable, maybe holding those knees in close. They can go out a little wide. Or if you're seated, maybe you're staying in that fold, letting your hands drop down the fronts of your legs or all the way to the floor, perhaps. All right, now let's slowly bring it back to our start position. So feet on the floor, or sitting upright. Just take a moment to check in. All right, now we're going to just give ourselves a little more twisting and some hip loosening. So walk those feet close together, pick up the right leg and cross it over the left. And I'm crossing all the way to the knees. I'm crossing thigh to thigh. All right, so you can do this in the chair as well, but like the earlier twist, instead of moving your legs and your hips back and forth, you're going to turn your chest and your ribs to the side. All right, so I've got the right knee over the left, and I'm going to drop those legs towards the left. If you're seated, you're going to twist your chest to the right, and then come back to center. All right, so let's go in and out of that. We're just taking it to one side. Drop the knees to the left, or if you're seated, turn your chest to the right. You can even put your hand on that knee if you want. Now let's go a couple more times. All right, and then let's bring it all back to center. Now let's just see if we can take this leg, the right leg that's on top, and slide it so that it's crossed at the ankle. All right, now we've done this one lots in the chair, but if you don't recall the options for this one, seated in the chair, you could have your legs crossed just like this, the right ankle to the left knee, or from a seated position, you can cross the ankle down on your shin or on your other ankle, and it'll be a little less intense on the hip, so that's another option. Now, once you're in your cross, you can stay here. Or if you're lying down, you can pick up that left foot and reach through and hold your left thigh so that we take this into a deeper stretch. Now, not everybody needs to go that far, right? So if your hip joint is already feeling like it's close to or at its limit, then stay where you are and breathe. Now, if you're seated, the way to go a little deeper is to lean forward. Keep a straight spine, so keep your chest up, and just lean any amount over those crossed legs. Let's take a couple breaths here. Just feel that stretch in your hip. Hopefully, that's where we want to feel it, and somewhere in the outer hip, maybe that's somewhat in the thigh. All right, now let's release that. So either sit back up tall or bring the feet to the floor and uncross. Pause and take a moment just to observe. All right, and then let's take that left leg, cross it over the right. So we're crossing thigh to thigh. All right, you can spread the arms out if you're lying down, and we're going to rock the knees to the right. If you're seated, then remember it's opposite. You're going to turn your chest to the left while your legs stay still and on the chair. Remember, you might be making a much smaller movement than me. You might be making a bigger movement than me. So while I'm, sort of a guide visually, remember your body is different than mine. It's been through different things than mine has. And so we can all have our own individual sort of representation of the movement or the stretches that we're doing. Let's take a couple more of these little twists. It gets in that hip a little bit as well as the lower back. All right, bringing it back to center. Now we're going to slide that ankle to the knee. So you've got that figure 4 position, it's often called in therapy and in exercise because it looks sort of like you're the shape of a 4. All right, so again, remember some options. You might, if you're seated in the chair, cross your ankle lower down, right, rather than all the way up on the thigh. You could stay right where you are or take it a little deeper by picking up that right thigh and bringing it in towards you if you're lying down. Or if you're seated, keeping your spine nice and straight and leaning forward. Now, once you're here in your stretch, try to focus on your breathing. Can you slow it down any further? Can you smooth it out, make it a little more regular? That attention and awareness, mindfulness to your breath is a good way to just make sure the nervous system is, is really on board with giving you some more range of motion, some more flexibility in that joint and in those muscles. All right, let's release this side and uncross and just pause a moment. All right. Now, let's do one last thing for the upper back, and then we're going to take just a few moments of relaxation time that you can do either lying down or seated. But here, let's do for the back, for the upper back, bring the arms out in front of your chest. So easy to do seated or lying down. And I'm clasping those hands together, but it would be okay if you needed to keep them separated or even hold something between them like a ball or a block or something that gives you some spacing. And then we're going to rock the arms side to side. So here on the floor, I'm kind of rolling my upper body and my head. If you're seated, you're turning, you're bringing those arms across the chest. Good. And bring it back to the center. Separate those arms and see if you can reach them up overhead now and really stretch big. And then sweep the arms down to your sides. All right, now if you need to adjust your position in any way to be more comfortable, say, scoot back in your chair and lean on the back, or if you're here on the lying down, you might stretch your legs out long or keep them bent, maybe let the knees fall together. And then just place your hands on your belly. One nice thing about doing this one on the lying down is that your elbows can rest on the floor. Your arms can be a little more relaxed. So if you're seated and your arms get tired, just simply let them drop down to your sides. But just the hands on the belly is a good way to bring your breath into your awareness, right? To really feel and notice the breathing in your body. So as your hands are there touching your abdomen, try to just be real soft, real relaxed. Let that just be a real, kind of jelly belly, right? No tension, no holding, and just see if you can gently breathe in a little deeper. It may move the belly. It may move the chest. It's okay either way. You don't have to try to puff up the belly by any means. Just see if you can be relaxed and feel your breath move in and out a little bit like a wave that goes up and down. You might close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. Try to relax your face and your jaw. And just feel through your hands and within your body, feel your breath rhythm move in and out. Keep your awareness coming back to that sensation of the breath. Just another 3 breaths here. All right. Then if you're seated, you don't have to do much. Maybe just wiggle or turn your head a little bit. If you're lying down, just take your time. Start to, maybe rock your knees or rock your head. And no hurry hurry, no rush. In fact, you could stay where you are if you're comfortable. You could take another few moments of relaxation if you want. But if you're ready to kind of come to an upright position and finish with us in that position, just kind of bring yourself up to any comfortable seat. You can go back up to your chair, or you can sit, on the bed or on the floor if you'd like. And let's just end by bringing those hands together in front of the heart. Taking a moment just for gratitude for our bodies, gratitude for AARP Alabama. Thanks so much for giving us these opportunities. Let us know what you like and what you don't. We love to hear from you, and we'll be back with you again on Tuesday for another session of Mindful Movement.
Thank you, Becca. That is just what we needed. We're so grateful to have you, especially, and we appreciate our partnership with you and, getting us right for the summer and getting our bodies refreshed and relaxed, as all of us need it, especially after long and busy work weeks, especially with taking care of our families, our children, and then at work. We look forward to have you back next Tuesday.
All right. Thanks, Elise. Have a good day.
See you later. Thank you all to all our viewers for joining us today. If this is your first time joining us, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and follow us on Facebook. And then also, if you're a returning viewer, again, thank you. We appreciate you so much, and we're so happy to have you here. Just remember, you can always catch us for Mindful Movement on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time on our Facebook and our YouTube channel. If you're also interested in healthy recipes, please make sure you tune in for our plant-based cooking show with Chef Kim on every last Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. for the same platforms. If you're interested in free local events that we have, fun and local events that we have within your area, please visit local.aarp.org. Thank you all again, and we hope to see you again next Tuesday. And remember to stay refreshed, relaxed, and mindful about how you move your body. See you all again.